I'm getting a lot of questions lately around the best investment strategy to protect people against the inflation that's here today and the coming inflation from the $3 trillion that the Fed has printed. And they're printing an additional $1 trillion a year. If you're lucky enough, you can hear some construction going on in the background. And so people are coming to me saying, hey, RC, I think I should buy whole life insurance because it's a guaranteed, after taxes, about a 5% guaranteed income for life. And other people are coming to me saying, RC, people are telling me that buy and hold actually is better than doing a trading strategy, because once you take into account trading commissions, trading fees, and taxes, it's actually not even worth it to try to be in and out of the stock market or buy individual stocks. And so what I want to do is answer those questions. And the reason I'm talking about this weekend is because of an email that I got last week after last week's podcast. And this comes from one of my long-term members. And I'm just going to read it to you. So this came to me, I believe, Monday of last week. Thanks for the timely presentation. Here's referencing me talking about how you really need to focus on making sure that you don't get into some fixed income investment that does not adjust to inflation properly. A lot of the people you're talking about are getting the same message. We have a lot of our money in taxable accounts, and as a result of the in and out of the S&P, generates at best a third of our gains in taxes, and potentially the taxes of over 50% if held less than a year. The same holds for buying and selling individual stocks in these accounts. So we're told to buy and hold the stock market, and other people are told to get into some sort of insurance product. Alternatively, in decreasing order of tax generation, buy and hold individual stocks, buy and hold ETFs, or low turnover mutual funds. Bond funds are not attractive, but there is a push now to buy individual tax-free bonds and hold till they mature, thus generating a 5 to 6% tax-free return, even if this money is or even if you're locking up this money. If not bonds, then what is the best strategy for these taxable accounts when you are in the 50% plus tax bracket? Have a great weekend. And I took the person's name off to protect his identity. So let's talk about what to do if you want to grow your money, protect your money. You have inflation, you see inflation coming, you live in a place that's inflationary. So what I did was I took one of my strategies, the market probability strategy, and I compared it against a tax-free investment since 2000. So let's just look at these. And if you look at the screen here, you see three columns. The first column is time. The second column is MP, which stands for market probability. And the third column is a fixed 7.5% income. So that means you are going to get 7.5% income every year before taxes. So after taxes, that's around 5%. So just looking at market probability, and the reason why I have all these time references in here is because market probability has you sometimes in the market and it has you sometimes out of the market. And so these are the periods of time where you're in or out. And pretty much the smaller percentages are when you are out of the market and in cash. So if you look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different times or 6 different modes that you're in and out, you'll see that market probability during that time period adds up to a total 195%. But if you were in for this 18 months and you're in the highest tax bracket in the United States, that means you're living in California and you're paying 10%, if not a little bit more, to the state for long-term capital gains, and you're paying another 20% to the Fed for long-term capital gains. So I'm just saying there's about a 30% tax that you're going to be paying on each one of these gains. And notice that all of these are long-term capital gains except the 0% one at 4.5 months. So that would have been short-term capital gains. But if you notice with market probability, they're almost always long-term capital gains. So if you added up these returns and each time taken out basically 0.3 or 30% of this would have gone away, 30% of this would have gone to taxes, 30% of this number would have gone to taxes, 30% of this number would have gone to taxes, 30% of this number would have gone to taxes, and 30% of this number would have gone to taxes. That would have added up to 120% that your money, 121% that your money would have grown basically since November of 2000 till today. Today is the 8th of November. And this is if it was in a tax-sheltered account. So tax-sheltered account, it grows to 195% over that basically almost 12 years. And if you're being taxed on all these gains at the highest marginal tax rate for capital gains, you would have made 121% over that time period. If, in fact, you would have purchased a 7.5% fixed bond or, whole life insurance policy that was fixed, after that, after taxes, that would have been about 5%. But before taxes, all of these would have added up to about 76% over that about 12-year gain. And after taxes, again, being in the highest marginal tax bracket, you would have grown your money by about 53%. So what you get from being in a fixed investment is you get peace of mind, or you get consistency that you're going to make 7.5% every year before taxes. And there's a value that comes with that, right? It makes you feel good knowing you're going to make 7.5% every year before taxes. After taxes, maybe you make a fixed 5%, which again, you get peace of mind with that, you get consistency with that. But there's a cost that comes with peace of mind and consistency. And again, after taxes, you make about 53% over that 12-year period. Before taxes, it's about 76%. So what you're giving up, comparing this to market probability, is instead of making 53%, you would have made 121%, again, after taxes. So let's just say that's a little bit more, or much more than twice your money. So you would have had to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You would have had to done 6 things, 6 trades over 12 years. So on average, every 2 years, you would have had to do something. Now, to some people, that would be too much, and they don't want to have to do something every 2 years to make 121% compared to 53% over that 12-year period. And that's fine. But what you give up is 68 percentage points? No, 68. You give up, 50, so that's 47, 57, 67, 68 percentage points. So you would have made 68 percentage points more here, which again is pretty significant, about 130% more. But you would have had to, wait for the alert, liquidate, gone into cash, gone back into the market. So there's some things you would have had to do over the 12 years. Now, I personally think it's worth it. It's worth it because that's actually, I'm not asking you to do a lot. You're not day trading. You don't have computers in front of you. You're not figuring out option spreads and strangles. It's a pretty straightforward approach, market probability, and it's been very, very consistent for the entire time I followed it for 16 years. So I think it's worth it. But again, if you want that consistency of that 7.5%, which after taxes is about 5%, then you're going to pay for it. Plus, remember, when this goes into a whole life policy or some sort of fixed bond, you're kind of stuck in that. And here's the problem. If we go into an inflationary period, which I think is almost guaranteed, and remember, inflation will show up last in inflationary numbers or government inflationary numbers, then if you're stuck in only making 5% after taxes, and we go from a 2% inflation number to a 5% inflation number, then you're really behind the 8 ball. This money is not going to be able to produce enough for your lifestyle going forward, so it's going to actually make you poor. So my point of last week's podcast and this week's podcast in bringing more clarity is you want a strategy that, yes, even after taxes can give you the flexibility, and I don't want to say the guarantee, but historically it will give you the guarantee that your money will grow better. And again, this is for someone in the highest marginal tax rate in one of the highest tax states in this country. So if you're in a lower tax state or a lower marginal tax rate, then it's going to be even a better deal to be in a strategy that adapts to the market like market probability does. Now, I want to leave a couple final thoughts with you about managing the cost of living increases. So here's the thing. Most people in this country are only saving 5% of what they make. So if you're making $100,000 a year and you only save 5%, which means the other 95% goes to the cost of living, including taxes, this 5% guaranteed at 5% is no way going to protect you from this 95% going up 5% a year, right? Even if this is making you 10% a year, that's only what? $5,000 making you 10% a year guaranteed is only $500. But if this 95% goes up, that's $9,500. So it's not enough to to just save 5%. You have to be saving 10, 20%, which means cutting expenses, looking at how you can increase your income. And these are the things that I do with my private elite clients. I look at how can we have them increase their income? How can we have them save more without, affecting their lifestyle, without affecting how they live their life and how they can give back to others? You want to be able to make sure your current life today, you're living a great life, and making sure that the way you live in your future, you're living, with more choices and more freedom. But it's not enough to just set 5%, even 10% aside and have that grow at some fixed percentage rate. You actually need to make sure that you are really covering how much your expenses go up on what doesn't get saved. And I hope I was clear about that with you. Hey guys, it's a long weekend. It's Veterans Day on Monday. I hope you guys take the day off and maybe spend some time recharging, spending time with people that you love being around. Went over to a friend's house last night. We had a cigar, had a beer. It was great. We watched, I think it was Stanford against Oregon. I'm not really into football, but it was great just hanging out for an hour with a friend who I hadn't seen for a while, just totally relaxed and smoking a cigar. Moderation is good with almost anything. So you guys take care. If you find yourself in that place where you are earning as much as you can, you've done everything right, you've gone to the right schools, you're making that $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 a year, you've got the car, you got the spouse, you got the house, you got the income, but yet you don't see your life having more choices, more freedom, then I think I can help you, and I'm willing to give you some of my guidance for free. And if in fact you see yourself as that person, then the next step is really easy. You just go ahead and email Patty, Patty, @fearlesswealth.com, and she can find out, you and her can find out if you qualify for one of those strategy sessions. You guys take care, have a great weekend, and I will be speaking with you on Tuesday because we have our monthly gathering coming up where I'm going to go into more detail on how to protect really your savings, what you've saved and put aside in the investment world. You guys take care. I'll speak to you then.